Morning YouTube. We are about 2 minutes away from commencing the first game for track 1 for Division 3, I believe, for TGSS 2022. Today we have Rockabellas Roller Derby versus Tweed Valley Rollers. To begin the feed, we would just like to acknowledge that we are skating on corner land and we pay our respects to elders past, present and future. On the roster for Tweed Valley Rollers, we have 10 Kif, 1616 Jaded, 1971 Exit Mole, 20 Mischief, 22 Tenacious T, 666 Bloody L, 8008 Buster, 82 Riffraff, 83 Pain Terror, 863 Spanky Yankee, 96 Sugars, 99 Evil Britches, and on the bench we have Taylor Swiftly and Palligator. And for the Rockabellas in pink, we have 024 Yogo Yubari, 042 Black Belter, 05 Tanya Ass, 07 Starry Night, 077 Turtle, 201 Sensational, 203 Candy Bella, 22 Passion Fingers, 248 Rebel Lion, 41 Misty, 5150 Cindereka, 78 Nitrous Blockside, 8008 Princess Muscles, and on the bench we have MJ, Chip, Cherry, Night Out, and Vice Ursula. And lining up for Jam 1, we have 96 Sugars for Tweed against 22 Passion Fingers for Rockabellas. And it is Passion Fingers picking up lead jammer status, with Sugars copping a big hit out from 042 Black Belter. Sugars passing the star to 1971 Exit Mole. Meanwhile, we will now have a 2-minute jam as Passion Fingers has gone to the penalty box. Exit Mole completing their first scoring pass and picking up 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Meanwhile, Passion Fingers returning to the track from the penalty box. So both jammers back on track. Passion Fingers completing another scoring pass, putting 4 points on the board for the Rockabellas. Meanwhile, Exit Mole coming back out of the pack, picking up another 4 points for Tweed Valley. Sugars recycling Passion Fingers. Meanwhile, Exit Mole finding their way out of the front of the pack for another 4 points.
Beautiful side-to-side blocking happening in here.
And the jam has now timed out, and scores currently look like Tweed Valley Rollers on 12 versus Rockabellas on 7. For Jam 2, we have 1-0 Kiff for Tweed Valley Rollers up against 0-2-4 Go-Go Ubari for Rockabellas. And it is Kiff who has picked up the lead jammer status for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Go-Go Ubari having a bit of a trickier time getting out of the pack. Kiff, meanwhile, coming around and picking up 4 points in their first scoring pass for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Go-Go Ubari removing the star, trying for getting through with a star stash for their initial pass. But meanwhile, Kiff calling it off after scoring another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Scores currently sitting at 20-7. We have 2-2 Tenacious T on the line now for Tweed Valley Rollers against 2-0-1 Sensational for the Rockabellas. And it is Tenacious T who has picked up lead jammer status with Tweed Valley Rollers once again getting lead jammer status. Meanwhile, the Rockabellas jammer Sensational has found their way into the penalty box for doing some kind of a mischief. Tenacious T picking up 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Getting hit out on the apex by the Rockabellas tripod. But managing to find their way through for another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Sensational, meanwhile, returning to the track from the penalty box. Both jammers coming out of the front of the pack. Sensational scoring their initial pass. Oh. Tenacious T, unfortunately, trying to call off the jam, but unsuccessful as they received a penalty and are now in the box. So this jam will be another 2-minute jam as there is no lead jammer.
Taking a nice early lead in the first 5 minutes of this game with 20 points at this stage.
And we have a bit of a jammer switcheroo about to happen with Sensational going to the penalty box for a cut track penalty, meaning Tenacious T gets to come back on track a little bit early.
Well, it's early in the morning. People want to have a bit of a sit down again. You're like, what am I doing standing up?
I don't blame you.
Maybe we should give them Tic Tacs at least, because at least the Tic Tacs are a penalty bin.
And that is the jam clock timing out.
So Godzilla, how is your game?
Scores currently sitting Tweed Valley Rollers on 31 versus Rockabellas on 7. We have 9-6 Sugars back on the line for Tweed Valley Rollers, with Sensational still in the penalty box from the previous jam for the Rockabellas.
Even when you're not winning in the points, you're definitely winning in the faces. Everyone's smiling out there, and it's a good time to be home. Lots of
And it is Sugars picking up lead jam status. Sensational returning to the track and making short work of their initial pass. Meanwhile, Sugars coming through to collect 4 points in their first scoring pass. Both jammers coming out of the front of the pack, picking up 4 points apiece.
This tournament is a lot of great great interaction, a lot of great communication between.
We have the Tweed Valley Rollers pivot headed to the penalty box.
To talk about the communication being on the tea party. Keeps on going.
Sugars getting recycled by the Rockabellas tripod, but deciding to call it off.
Nice early in the morning.
I would love a cup of tea. So I could find
If anyone can hear their cup of tea.
Scores currently sitting Tweed Valley Rollers on 39 against the Rockabellas on 15. We have 1-0 Kif lining up against number 22 Passion Fingers for the Rockabellas.
And we've got the captain here for the Bellas. Into the 22 Passion Fingers. Oh, straight on the outside, but it looks like lead jammer was given.
And you know, the name Passion Fingers.
And Passion Fingers was called lead jammer, but they then got recycled with Kif slipping out of the pack not far behind, but Passion Fingers deciding to call it off before Kif gets a chance to score any points.
Just going to sit here and call it off. I don't trust it anymore.
Very fair idea. Jammer in the box is not where you want. Now wants the Passion Fingers in the box.
We have 2-2 Tenacious T once again lining up for Tweed Valley Rollers, this time against 248 Rebel Lion for the Rockabellas.
Are you? They do tax.
They do my tax from a distance because I'm of course from Newcastle. And,
It looks like the Tweed Valley Rollers jammer has gone to the penalty box, so our lead jammer this jam is Rebel Lion for the Rockabellas.
Oh, that's because we've got number 22 Tenacious T in the bin here.
Rebel Lion finds their way out of the pack, picking up 4 points for the Rockabellas.
there's a lot of action in the penalty box for our
And making their way through the pack for another scoring pass, picking up an 8-point jam so far. Meanwhile, Tenacious T returning to the track for the Tweed Valley Rollers,
For the Bellas right now, 3 points on the board.
Tenacious T for TVR.
completing their initial pass. Rebel Lion deciding to call off the jam before Tweed Valley Rollers get the opportunity to pick up any more points.
Nice, healthy 10 points as well, so that's really going to squish that margin.
Scores currently sitting at Tweed Valley Rollers on 41, ahead of the Rockabellas on 25.
Happening.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
On the line again, we've got Sugars for TVR, number 96.
And number 78.
We have 9-6 Sugars lining up on the jammer line for the Tweed Valley Rollers. And that is 7-8 Nitrous Blockside for the Rockabellas. And it is Sugars who's picked up lead jammer status.
Absolutely.
Sugars picks up another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Nitrous Blockside having a bit of a tougher time getting out of the pack. Sugars, meanwhile, skipping around the apex to pick up another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Nitrous Blockside getting recycled all the way back there by the Tweed Valley Rollers blockers.
Turning it on up here. No expense spared for TGSS.
Sugars, meanwhile, picking up another 4 points.
Another 4 points. Still a lot of things happening in the pack for the Bellas.
Ooh, a little apex jump there from Sugars, but Sugars being called for a cut track penalty, so not quite a clean apex jump.
New star holder here for the Bellas.
And a power jam, just what they want.
Frees up the Rockabellas blockers to help their jammer out of the pack and score initial pass. And I believe we have had a star pass. That is now 5150 Cindereca wearing the star for the Rockabellas.
Lining up, 3 on the out, 1 on the in, ready for some offense. Which they do.
And Cindereca looking at this group of blockers trying to
Sugars returning to the track now from the penalty box. And the jam clock timing out as we ended up with no lead jammer.
3 each. Good hustle.
Scores currently sitting at 5.56 for the Tweed Valley Rollers against 28 for the Rockabellas. We have 1-0 Kif once again lining up against 2-2 Passion Fingers for the Rockabellas.
Passion Fingers back out there.
Oh, Passion Finger. I like that, man. It's good.
I must say, I think so far that's my pick of the night.
And it is Passion Fingers picking up lead jammer status for the Rockabellas. Meanwhile, Kif getting recycled all the way to the back. Oh no, that is actually Kif going to the penalty box, giving the Rockabellas a bit of a power jam and a chance to catch up a little bit on the scoreboard. Passion Fingers picking up 4 points in their first scoring pass.
Absolutely. You're going to see a very fiery pack come through. A lot of offense, a lot of defense here.
Passion Fingers scooting around the outside to pick up another 4 points.
The offense works and the jammer just spins on through.
Well, it's nice when the blockers can let the jammer.
Meanwhile, Kif returning to the track as jammer for the Tweed Valley Rollers from the penalty box. Passion Fingers twirling around the inside apex to pick up another 4 points. Meanwhile, Kif has managed to bust out of that pack and make short work of their initial pass. Passion Fingers deciding to call off the jam before Kif gets an opportunity to score. Taking our points currently to Tweed Valley Rollers on 56 versus the Rockabellas on 40. And we appear to be, I think we might have a Tweed Valley Rollers team timeout at the moment. So probably a good opportunity to take a look at some of our sponsors.
Well, for a minute, you get $1 per minute, so $10, 10 minutes. They told me I wasn't allowed to get a 30-second massage, but
That's very cheap of you.
I know.
I was thinking, there's not
Our major sponsor is Skate Society. Skate Society is a South Australian family-owned and run full-service skate shop. And having one of the largest ranges of skate products in Australia, both in-store and online. And they also have a stall if you are here this weekend and find yourself needing any kind of derby essentials. I should probably visit them at one point because my wrist guards are very broken.
Number 96.
Coming out of the timeout, we have 9-6 Sugars lining up again for the Tweed Valley Rollers. I think that may be 201 Sensational out for the Rockabellas. Sensational getting recycled on the outside just as Sugars makes short work of their initial pass and picks up lead jammer status. Sugars coming around the front of the pack and picking up another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Sensational having a little bit more trouble finding their way out of the pack. Sugars picking up another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. And I believe we have had another star pass on the Rockabellas side. I think that is a 077 Turtle currently holding the star for the Rockabellas. Sugar's given them a little friendly pop on their way past for their third scoring pass, I believe. Meanwhile, Turtle completing their initial pass. Sugar's calling off the jam before Turtle gets a chance to score for the Rockabellas. Tweed Valley Rollers pulling ahead again a little bit on 72 points against 40 points for the Rockabellas.
We've got TVR now 72 and the Bellas on 40.
We have
Very close game. Everyone's still in this on the track.
We have 1-0 Kiff once again lining up for the Tweed Valley Rollers against 78 Nitrous Blockside for the Rockabellas, and it is Kiff picking up lead jammer status. Nitrous Blockside getting recycled by the Tweed Valley Rollers blockers, but then finding their way through the pack to complete their initial pass. Meanwhile, Kiff picking up 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Both defensive tripods putting up quite the fight. Kiff picking up another 4 points and then calling it off. Meanwhile, Rockabellas managing to sneak a few points in there before Kiff could call off the jam. Taking scores to the Tweed Valley Rollers on 80 versus the Rockabellas on 42.
Love watching the strategies. And it is really great to see the Bellas playing a box while most of the TVR are playing a triangle.
Have 9-6 Sugars out jamming for Tweed Valley Rollers versus 2-2 Passion Fingers for Rockabellas. And Passion Fingers is once again lead jammer. Sugars not far on their tail before.
Passion Fingers coming through. Oh, quick, hit it and quit it. A couple of points there.
Passion Fingers going for a hit it and quit it approach, calling off the jam before Sugars is able to pick up any points. Sneaking in one little point there for the Rockabellas.
Unanswered points is what you want.
Exactly. Bringing the differential
Tweed Valley
down.
Rollers still on ahead on 80. Rockabellas now on 43. We have 1-0 Kiff back out on Tweed Valley Rollers. Again, 0-24 Gogo Yubari for the Rockabellas. We have a bit of a jammer action happening with Gogo Yubari trying to recycle Kiff to the back of the pack. And we have Kiff going to the penalty box for a cut track because they had to yield to Gogo Yubari because they did not. Gogo Yubari now free to pick up lead jammer for the Rockabellas. Rockabellas taking advantage of the power jam situation to run some offense and pick up, allowing Gogo Yubari to pick up 4 points. Gogo Yubari calling off the jam with Kiff returning from the penalty box. Keeping the Tweed Valley Rollers on 80 points. Rockabellas now sitting on 48. We have 9-6 Sugars again lining up for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Oh, and we have an official review happening at the moment.
Official review here. Looking at that jammer penalty, which was a little bit delayed, a bit confusing.
I always thought the hand signal for official
Potentially
review
reviewing the
was respect to the band.
jammer runback situation that happened in the previous jam.
Yeah, love you. Shame nuts to make it a little hard.
Unfortunately, I do not have a co-commentator with me on this live stream, so I will not be able to run in and find out what is going on.
They've done a fantastic job, or the NSOs, or the refs, the score trackers, everyone involved.
So I guess while we're having a timeout, it might be an idea to speak about another one of our sponsors. We have PAQ Conditioning and Coaching. PAQ Recovery say their motto is train hard, recover harder. And they believe health and wellness is a critical component of training. They provide coaching, support and education to help you achieve your recovery goals. And they have Normatech compression sessions running over this weekend.
Well, we mentioned obviously health, but I really like to talk about, where are they? Mad Promo Poster and Fly Distribution. They're an Adelaide-based business that specialises in just distributing posters and flyers and festival programs.
Oh my God, I love that.
This is my favourite part. I love to see a bum on a seat.
Yes, sir. On the health and wellness and recovery vein, we have Odyssey Health Practices here offering cheap massages all weekend. $10 for 10 minutes, $20 for 20 minutes. So if you are in fact at TGSS and feeling a bit sore from your games yesterday, you might want to go check them out when you have a bit of a break in your schedule today.
2014 shares. You can pretend like you were there.
Well, I was there. But I have my business shirt.
Oh, nice.
Unfortunately, it's way too cold and I have to zip everything over.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Very comfy neck shirt.
Oh, we've got to get it.
And I'd like to really shout out to our team, Newcastle Roller Derby, is going, which is the quest on King William Sound.
Oh, is it nice?
It is beautiful, and we usually slum it. We're known to a hostel, and although they're comfortable and they have their pros and cons like pancake breakfast, it is nice to have your sheets changed.
Oh, that is nice.
And soap. It's nice to have soap.
And with every TGSS, a huge shout out to the Adelaide Showground, our venue partner. They have hosted every single TGSS since way back in 2010, and also just huge supporters of Adelaide Roller Derby, our fabulous host league in general, and TGSS would not be the same without them.
Yeah, we could camp on with a turtle painted on the side.
Hopefully a nice slogan and not some of the other slogans.
No. It's just a big turtle. Underwater sort of thing.
That's a good time.
Yeah. We could, yeah, lots to talk about. Let me see if I can read the lips. Did you check out Stranger Things last week? Oh, yeah, it's awesome. Have you seen that? Oh, yeah. They're not even talking about roller derby.
You're right. So it looks like it might have been a no call on that one because nothing.
And it looks like we are back from that official review.
Out of the bin.
But the key here is that they checked and looked into it, checked with the fourth umpire.
Both skaters looking to have their full contingent of skaters on the track, so I'm guessing there was no impact to gameplay from the outcome of that official review. We have 9-6 Sugars for Tweed Valley Rollers up against 2-0-1 Sensational for the Rockabellas. And it is Sensational with lead jammer status for the Rockabellas. We have Sugars headed to the penalty box for a back block, I believe. Sensational picking up 4 points for the Rockabellas.
This is exactly what the Bellas need coming into the last 10 minutes of this period. Well, look at that restart. That's good work there.
Sensational fighting their way through the pack, picking up another 4 points for the Rockabellas.
They're lining up for some offense and defense. They're trying to protect.
Ooh. That was a big hit from 8008 Buster. Meanwhile, Sugars has returned to the track from the penalty box. Sensational completing another scoring pass, picking up another 4 points for the Rockabellas. Sugars making their way out of the pack and completing their initial pass. Sensational deciding to call off the jam before Tweed Valley Rollers get an opportunity to put any more points on the board though. We have Tweed Valley Rollers still sitting on 80 points, but Rockabellas closing in on 61.
Saturday with a boom. That's how you do it.
2 Tenacious T for Tweed Valley Rollers lining up against, we have a battle of the 2-2s. We have also 2-2 Passion Fingers out there for the Rockabellas. Both jammers copping some big hit-outs as well. There's 2-0 Mischief running Passion Fingers all the way back. Now getting recycled again by 8008 Buster. Meanwhile, Tenacious T picking up the lead jammer status for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Passion Fingers still caught in a little bit of a washing machine by those Tweed Valley Rollers blockers. Tenacious T having a little bit of trouble getting out of the pack for their first scoring pass from that Rockabellas tripod.
Oh, really?
We have Passion Fingers going to the penalty box for a cut track penalty. Meanwhile, Tenacious T making their way through the pack for their first scoring pass after a pretty big recycle from 8008 Princess Muscles. Tenacious T making their way through the pack for a second scoring pass, but calling it off, icing Passion Fingers in the penalty box.
Maybe just in time.
Scores after that jam, we have Tweed Valley Rollers still ahead on 88 points, with the Rockabellas on 61.
Oh, look, I find a good triple on time was the way to start the morning.
Probably is not my forte. But we do have a timeout here.
We have a Rockabellas timeout.
Give a very big shout out to the Adelaide Showground.
Yeah, I love Adelaide Showground.
During this timeout, we have a Passion Fingers still in the penalty box as jammer for the Rockabellas, and also 2-0 Mischief for the Tweed Valley Rollers in the penalty box as a blocker.
No, that's right.
This weekend, our penalty box on track 1 is sponsored by Tic Tacs, tax accountants, and Tic Tacs Financial Planning.
Absolutely. And the markets
It
are
is
on
a Tic Tacs is a local accounting practice in Port Adelaide, owned and operated by Kit Kat Crunch from the Adelaide Roller Derby League.
It was one of my crowning achievements in commentating a fire evacuation.
I've got an image like Titanic style.
They're a government name, being Cat Maguire. They have been an accountant for over 15 years and is also a financial planner. So, and they take clients from all over Australia. So, if you're looking for an accountant, maybe reach out and give Tic Tacs a call for derby-friendly accounting needs.
It's really important. Okay, so starting this next jam, I think it's Kip, and we have
They have also provided a list of accountant jokes here for the commentators.
Soon to be released from the box.
The favourite one I have maybe here is, what is the definition of an accountant? And that is someone who solves a problem you did not know you had in a way you don't understand.
Ready to go?
And I don't think there's much left on this.
And we are back on track with 1-0 Kif jamming unopposed for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Meanwhile, Passion Fingers still returning to the track from the penalty box for the Rockabellas. And running the inside apex to lead jammer status. Kif, meanwhile, also making their way out of the pack for their initial pass. Passion Fingers are going for a hit it or quit it approach, running through the pack to pick up 4 points and trying to ice the Tweed Valley Rollers from scoring any points, but that did not succeed. I believe Tweed Valley Rollers still managed to pick up maybe, I think that was 2 points. Tweed Valley Rollers sitting on 90, the Rockabellas on 65. Have a 9-6 Sugars out for Tweed Valley Rollers up against Gogo Ubari 024 for the Rockabellas. And it is Sugars picking up lead jammer status.
But both of these jammers have had great success.
Sugars also making a short work of their initial scoring pass. Meanwhile, Gogo Ubari copying a fairly sizable hit there. And we have had a star pass. That looks like now 248 Rebel Lion with the star for the Rockabellas. Sugars calling off the jam before Rockabellas get a chance to put any points on the board.
Yes, we've got clothesline.
Tweed Valley Rollers now sitting on 97 to the Rockabellas on 65. Have 1-0 Kif back out on track against 2-0-1 Sensational for the Rockabellas. And that is Kif as the lead jammer for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Sensational also finding their way out of the pack for their initial pass. Kif finding their way out of the pack and picking up 4 points and then calling off the jam before Rockabellas. I think there seems to have been a little bit of confusion there because the whistle bleed in this venue is causing issues all over the place this weekend. So I believe the Rockabellas did pick up some points there as well.
So just to confirm to the audience, whistle bleed is when
We have the Tweed Valley Rollers cracking into the cracking the century on 101 against the Rockabellas now sitting on 69.
And being in a venue with 3 tracks, whistle bleed's real easy. It happens at a lot of tournaments because it's just the nature of the beast. But when we're playing on concrete,
We now have an official timeout.
what they need is a synthesizer, and it can like play cat noises instead of whistles.
That was a very quick official timeout. We are now back. We have 9-6 Sugars lining up for the Tweed Valley Rollers against Passion Fingers 2-2 for the Rockabellas.
oh, it's the sound of the dying giraffe.
Passion fingers up on the line, and the lead jammer goes to the fellas.
And it is Passion Fingers picking up lead jammer status with Sugars hot on their tail. We now have a very fast pack situation with but Passion Fingers decides they're not in the mood to run this morning and calls off the jam.
Absolutely. 0-0 is always a good time.
Making that a pointless jam with 0 points added to either side of the scoreboard. We have 077 Turtle lining up to jam for the Rockabellas against 1-0 Kif for the Tweed Valley Rollers. And it is Kif picking up a lead jammer status. Turtle also finding the way out of the pack for their initial pass. Meanwhile, Kif coming around to pick up 4 points for their initial scoring pass and calling off the jam before Turtle got a chance to return to the pack for their first scoring pass.
So in the last
Taking scores, Tweed on 105 versus Rockabellas still on 69.
The Rockabellas, so the last 15 minutes has really gone the way of Tweed Valley a little bit.
Absolutely, but still absolutely.
We have 2-2 Tenacious T lining up for Tweed Valley Rollers against 2-0-1 Sensational for the Rockabellas.
The last minute rush in for points.
And Sensational's on for the Bellows.
Tenacious T has been awarded a lead jammer, but has also been recycled by the Rockabellas blockers.
Being completely out, has passed all the players, but not exited
Sensational, also finding their way out of the pack, making their way back in for their first scoring pass. Tenacious T deciding to call off the jam though. Rockabellas managing to sneak in, looks like maybe 3 points there. Tweed Valley Rollers still sitting on 105, with Rockabellas now on 72.
Passion Fingers is back on the line, up against Sugars.
We have 9-6 Sugars again lining up against 2-2 Passion Fingers. And it is Sugars this time picking up the lead jam status for the Tweed Valley Rollers. And we have Passion Fingers going to the penalty box for the Rockabellas, making this a power jam for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Sugars picking up 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Coming through, picking up 4 points in their second scoring pass. Before calling it off, icing the Rockabellas jammer in the penalty box. Tweed currently on 113 points versus the Rockabellas on 72.
Really coming home strong, and the Bellas are really going to pick up at the start of this next period.
And that is half time. So Tweed Valley Rollers leading on 113 points going into half time versus the Rockabellas on 72. We have 15 minutes for you to sort your life out, maybe make yourself another coffee. And we will be back shortly with half two of this first game on track 1 for day 2 of TGSS 2022.
way. TGSS Ops Crew. I don't know what that means, but I think you're important. Ops Crew. Ops Crew. The operational crew. The track right, please.
They're going to be running a competition in this next 3 minutes. Let's see who can get Godzilla a cup of tea. White with one. And the winner gets an antibacterial wipe to make sure that they are disease-free.
Look, I'll even throw in a tissue.
And a tissue. That's right. And look, I'm sure if you went and got her a tea, I'm pretty sure you might get a hug or a handshake.
Look, I've been playing derby, so all medicine options are out the window. So yeah, I'm not here for hugs.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll even cradle you and tell you you're pretty.
Isn't that nice? All for the price of a cup of tea.
No, don't bring me any of that green tea stuff.
No, that's bullshit.
No, I want black tea with milk and sugar, please.
Black tea, milk, one sugar.
One sugar.
All right, there you have it. Just 2 minutes to go to get that coffee out to us here. A tea.
Fantastic price.
Yeah, absolute winners. You'll all be winners. 1 cup of tea, black, white, 1 sugar.
And if anyone has
It sure does. Breakfast of champions. It sure beats my old options was a flask of coffee and a cigarette.
oh, it's the diet though.
It's a lifestyle choice.
And we are about to get underway with the second half of Tweed Valley Rollers versus Rockabellas Roller Derby. If you are just tuning in, we currently have Tweed Valley Rollers sitting on 113 points ahead of the Rockabellas on 72. I'd like to take this opportunity to give a huge shout out for Beardcast, who are bringing the live streaming for this TGSS 2022. They have been a Derby broadcasting since 2018, bringing roller derby straight to your TV wherever you are in the world. And of course also a huge shout out to all our referees and non-skating officials, without which a derby would not happen. And it is occurring to me that I never introduced myself at the start of this live stream. I am Purple Rain. I am with the Brisbane City Rollers. But today, being an impartial commentator, I am cheering for roller derby and just everyone in general. We have 9-6 Sugars lining up to jam for Tweed Valley Rollers, with 2-2 Passion Fingers still in the penalty box from the first half. And it is Sugars picking up the lead jammer status. Meanwhile, the Rockabellas pivot headed to the bin, and the Rockabellas jammer Passion Fingers are back on track, making their way through the pack for their initial pass and making short work of it, running through the inside apex. Sugars picking up 4 points from the Tweed Valley Rollers and then deciding to call off the jam before Rockabellas get a chance to pick up any more points. Tweed Valley Rollers on 117 to Rockabellas on 72. We have 201 Sensational lining up on the jam line for the Rockabellas against 10 Kif for the Tweed Valley Rollers. We actually have a bit of love for Senna in the comments on this live stream, with Emily saying, oh, well done, and I have learning from this that they are also a former junior. Sensational picking up the lead jammer status, and Kif also making their way through the pack to complete their initial pass. But it is Kif first out of the pack for Tweed Valley Rollers, picking up 4 points. Sensational still fighting their way through, but making their way through and picking up 4 points for the Rockabellas. Meanwhile, Kif making very quick, short work of their second scoring pass, running up the inside line to pick up an additional 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Tweed currently sitting on 125 to the Rockabellas on 76. Emily in the chat also says, "Go Bellas, you're all amazing." And we also have Gina saying, "Big love for the commentator." Gina, I love you too. We have 9-6 Sugars out there for the Tweed Valley Rollers against 0-2-4 Go-Go Yubari for the Rockabellas. And it is Sugars who has picked up the lead jammer status. Go-Go Yubari also finding their way out of the pack for their initial pass. Go-Go Yubari running down the inside line to pick up 4 points for the Rockabellas, emerging from the pack around the same time as Sugars, picking up 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. The Sugars deciding to call it off at 4 points apiece. Tweed Valley Rollers sitting on 129 to Rockabellas on 80. We have 1-0 Kif lining up for the Tweed Valley Rollers against 2-2 Passion Fingers for the Rockabellas. Rockabellas having a slight pack advantage with the Tweed Valley Rollers pivot sitting in the Tic Tacs penalty box. It is Passion Fingers who picked up lead jammer status after a bit of an apex jump, but it is 1-0 Kif who is currently out in front. But Passion Fingers calls it off before Kif gets the chance to pick up any points. Another pointless jam. Scores remain Tweed on 129 to the Rockabellas on 80. We have a 2-4-8 Rebel Lion lining up for the Rockabellas against a 9-6 Sugars for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Rockabellas still having that slight pack advantage. And it is Sugars picking up lead jammer status for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Rebel Lion for the Rockabellas not far behind them. But Sugars deciding to hit and quit it. Picking up 2 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Rockabellas prevented from scoring by Sugars' decision to call off the jam. Tweed on 131, leading the Rockabellas on 80. We have 2-0-1, Sensational back out against 1-0 Kif for the Tweed Valley Rollers. And it is Kif picking up lead jammer status. Sensational, unfortunately, going to the bin for a cut track penalty, making this a Tweed Valley Rollers power jam. Kif capitalising on that, making short work of their first scoring pass, picking up 4 points. Kif picking up a second 4 points. Sensational returning to the track as Rockabellas jammer. Meanwhile, Kif completing a third scoring pass and deciding to call off the jam before Sensational gets a chance to score. Tweed Valley Rollers now on 139 to the Rockabellas on 80. It is a 2-2 Tenacious T out for the Tweed Valley Rollers. We have another battle of the 2-2s because it is again 2-2 Passion Fingers out for the Rockabellas. But it is the Tweed Valley Rollers, a 2-2 Tenacious T picking up lead jammer status. Both jammers getting some big recycles from the defensive blockers in this jam. Tenacious T picking up 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Passion Fingers also completing their initial pass. But Tenacious T goes for another scoring pass and then decides to call off the jam before Passion Fingers gets a chance to score. Tweed Valley Rollers now on 150 to the Rockabellas still on 80. Have 9-6 Sugars lining up for the Tweed Valley Rollers against 0-2-4 Gogo Yubari for the Rockabellas. And it is Sugars picking up the lead jammer status for the Tweed Valley Rollers, but Gogo Yubari also completing their initial pass not far behind. Sugars deciding to call off the jam. They're preventing Gogo Yubari from picking up any more points for the Rockabellas. Not quite a full pass. Tweed Valley Rollers picking up 3 points in that jam, taking their score to 153 with the Rockabellas still on 80. Thank you to Mama P in the chat for complimenting my commentary. We have 201 Sensational back out for the Rockabellas, picking up lead jammer status against Kif 1-0 for the Tweed Valley Rollers, still fighting their way through for their initial pass. Sensational hitting back into the pack for their first scoring pass. Kif is still getting recycled there by the Rockabellas blockers, getting run all the way back by... I actually cannot tell who that is from this distance. Sensational coming through for another scoring pass. Kif managing to find their way out of the pack for their initial pass. But Sensational calling it off after copping a big hit from... I believe that was 8-2 riffraff from the Tweed Valley Rollers.
That is a great way to start. A nice 8-point going to the ballot.
And they're on our favourite score, the two fat ladies, 88.
It looks like Tweed Valley Rollers still sitting on 153 with the Rockabellas now sitting on 88. And we have a Rockabellas a team timeout. So time to hear a bit more from our sponsors. Our accommodation partner is Quest King William South. So if you had not organised accommodation yet, if you were here, or if you were maybe inspired to make a last-minute dash to Adelaide to see the grand final tomorrow, maybe check out Quest King William South for all your accommodation needs. And our media partner is Against the Grain, who offer specialised publicity, PR and marketing services. And my notes here say that we can confirm that they are damn good at their jobs. So check them out for all your PR and marketing needs. We are back with from the timeout with another battle of the 2-2s. Which 2-2 shall be victorious this time? Tenacious T or Passion Fingers? And it is, oh no, Passion Fingers going to the bin for a cut track penalty. Currently a power jam for Tenacious T, the 2-2 from the Tweed Valley Rollers. And it is Tenacious T once again picking up lead jam status in a 2-2 off. Tenacious T copying a big hit out there from 0-5 Tanya Ass from the Rockabellas. Meanwhile, Passion Fingers returning to the track from the penalty box as Tenacious T picks up 4 points and then decides to call off the jam. Taking Tweed Valley Rollers to 157 with the Rockabellas still on 88. Some more comments from the live stream. We have Leanne saying, go TVR. It's nice to see both teams getting a little bit of love in the chat. We have 248 Rebel Lion jamming for Rockabellas currently versus 9-6 Sugars from the Tweed Valley Rollers. And Sugars is headed to the penalty box for a cut track, I believe. Giving Rebel Lion also headed to the penalty box, meaning we have no lead jammer and a 2-minute jam. And it is Sugar's release from the penalty box first from our little jammer bounce just then. Rebel Lion released not long after, as they only had to serve the same amount of time as Sugar's, which was not very long. Sugar's completing their initial pass. Meanwhile, Rebel Lion taking a little bit of a tumble. Sugar's picking up 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers in their first scoring pass. Rebel Lion still having a bit of a struggle getting through the pack for their initial pass. The star is off. Will it be a stash or a pass? It remains to be seen. Sugars making their way through for another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Rebel Lion unfortunately headed back to the penalty box for another cut track penalty. Giving Sugars a Tweed Valley Rollers power jam. Sugar's picking up another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers, and that is the jam clock timing out. After that jam, we have Tweed Valley Rollers pulling ahead again on 169 to the Rockabellas on 88. We have 1-0 Kiff lining up for the Tweed Valley Rollers, jamming unopposed against 248 Rebel Lion for the Rockabellas, as they are still in the penalty box from the previous jam. We have Blake in the chat saying, go Sugars. It is Kiff picking up lead jam status. Meanwhile, Rebel Lion is back on track from the penalty box. And we have had a star pass. It is now sensational jamming for the Rockabellas, completing their initial pass. Meanwhile, Kiff completing their first scoring pass, picking up 4 points, but deciding to call off the jam before Rockabellas get a chance to add any more points to their side. Tweed currently sitting on 173 with the Rockabellas still on 88 points. We have Hiroto in the chat saying Sugars for MVP, and I am terribly sorry if I just butchered your name. Meanwhile, we have another battle of the 2-2s. Tenacious T against Passion Fingers. Both jammers are getting recycled by the respective opposition teams. Passion Fingers having a little bit of trouble staying upright there, but manages to trip their way to lead jammer status. Tenacious T still struggling to make their way out of the pack for their initial pass. Meanwhile, Passion Fingers running the inside line to pick up a quick 4 points for the Rockabellas. Tenacious T completing their initial pass. Meanwhile, Passion Fingers jumping their way to across the apex and deciding to call off the jam. Looks like the jammer ref is still doing some quick maths and rule checking with the head ref to work out exactly how many points to award them. As the scoreboard currently stands, we have 173 for the Tweed Valley Rollers versus 92 for the Rockabellas. We currently have Sugars as lead jammer for the Tweed Valley Rollers. And I believe Passion Fingers was actually sent to the penalty box at the end of that jam, perhaps for a cut track with that little apex jump. It is Sugar's lead jammer for the Tweed Valley Rollers currently. Meanwhile, Passion Fingers returning to the track from the penalty box as Sugars picks up 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Passion Fingers making pretty short work of their initial pass. Sugars calling off the jam just as Passion Fingers goes for a apex jump that was just a fraction too late to pick up the points for the effort. But it was a very stylish jump. If there was points for style, there'd definitely be some on the board there. Tweed Valley Rollers now sitting on 184 with the Rockabellas still on 92. That is 0-2 for Gogo Yubari jamming now for the Rockabellas against 1-0 Kif for the Tweed Valley Rollers, but it is Gogo Yubari picking up lead jammer status for the Rockabellas. Kif also making their way out of the pack for their initial pass. Gogo Yubari getting recycled by the Tweed Valley Rollers blockers. Deciding to call off the jam, but not quick enough to prevent Tweed Valley Rollers picking up a few quick points in there. Looks like we currently have Tweed on 187 to Rockabellas on 95. But meanwhile, when we are in a Tweed team timeout. So I would like to, while we have a minute, we'll go through and see what's happening in the chat. Jack says, can I get a shout out to Lauren? She's going through a bit of a rough time. We can absolutely do that. Shout out to Lauren. And Voodoo Telly says, go the Bellas. Another one of our media partners for this, for the Great Southern Slam, is Sinestra. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but they are a national media company. They publish articles on their website and in their magazine, as well as making great videos on Sinestra TV. We are back from the team timeout. We have 077 Turtle back out jamming for the Rockabellas against 2-2 Tenacious T for Tweed Valley Rollers. And it is Tenacious T picking up lead jammer status. Meanwhile, Turtle unfortunately headed to the penalty box for a cut track penalty. We have a few Tweed Valley Roller skaters headed to the penalty box. I believe it is one blocker and also Tenacious T, our jammer, which means Turtle will shortly be returning to the track for the Rockabellas, and there they are leaving the penalty box. Turtle fighting their way through that Tweed Valley Rollers tripod, but getting through with a little bit of offense from a 201 sensational. Meanwhile, Tenacious T returning to the track from the penalty box. So this will be a 2-minute jam with no lead jammer due to both jammers scoring being awarded penalties in this jam. Turtle has passed the star to the Rockabellas pivot, which is a 201 sensational. Meanwhile, Tenacious T picking up 4 points for the Rockabellas. Now, I'm not sure if that was the jam clock timing out or lead being called when there was not lead. Not sure about that. We have an official timeout at the moment. So checking in with the chat, we have Prue saying go Sugars, and also another shout out to Lauren. And we have Blake saying go Sarah from the Beagles.
That's right. Without AJS, we sound a lot like this.
Jack also saying prayers for Mitchell and hope his bike is okay.
The sound here is wonderful, and it's difficult in a room like this. Obviously, we couldn't have house for all the tracks.
Another one of our sponsors this weekend is Cove Print, who are a family business who have been in the game for 22 years. They are good friends of Adelaide Roller Derby and have provided all of the printing going around at this TGSS. Also providing printed material is Mad Promo Posters and Flyer Distribution, an Adelaide-based business that specialises in posters, flyers and festival program guides. And they love to see a bum on a seat as much as we do.
Oh, so we have a call that Jammer Blue TVR22 called off the jam when they would not lead Jammer.
Yeah.
So we will be starting with the Valkyrie jammer in the box. As you've just found out. Which so 2-2 must report to the box.
On the audio-visual side of things this weekend, a shout out to AJS Lighting Sound Events, who have sponsored TGSS since 2018. Hit them up for your next event. So we seem to have had a penalty awarded to the Tweed Valley Rollers jammer in that official timeout, as we now have 024 Gogo Yabari jamming unopposed for the Rockabellas, with 22 Tenacious T sitting in the penalty box for the Tweed Valley Rollers. And it is Gogo Yabari picking up lead jammer status. Tenacious T returning to the track from the penalty box as Gogo Yabari fights their way through for their first scoring pass. Gogo Yabari picking up 4 points there for the Rockabellas. Go Yabaru calling off the jam after picking up, I believe that might be another 4 points for the Rockabellas. Meanwhile, Tenacious T not completing an initial pass in that jam. I am actually struggling to see the Tweed Valley Rollers score from where I am, but it looks like maybe 193 to 108 for the Rockabellas. Meanwhile, we have Passion Fingers currently out jamming on track for the Rockabellas, but our lead jam at this jam is 1-0 Kif for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Kif picking up 4 points in their first scoring pass. Meanwhile, Passion Fingers still fighting their way through the pack for their initial pass. But they find their way out of the pack. But Kif calling off the jam after their second scoring pass before Passion Fingers gets a chance to put any more points on the board for the Rockabellas. We have Tweed Valley Rollers cracking the 201 points to the Rockabellas on 108. On track we have 201 Sensational for the Rockabellas lining up against 96 Sugars for the Tweed Valley Rollers. And it is Sensational picking up the lead jammer status for the Rockabellas. Sugars also completing their initial pass. And we have a little bit of a shanking from the Tweed Valley Rollers with Sugars not lead jammer but first out of the pack on their first scoring pass. Sugars coming around for a second scoring pass, but Go-Go decides to call off the jam. Oh, sorry, that was Sensational calling off the jam. Both teams managing to pick up a few points there. That looks like 208 for the Tweed Valley Rollers versus the Rockabellas on a very satisfying 111 points. We have 077 Turtle back out to jam for the Rockabellas against 1-0 Kif for the Tweed Valley Rollers. We have Turtle getting recycled all the way back. 8-2 Riff Raff. Meanwhile, Kif has picked up lead jammer status. But Turtle also manages to complete their initial pass. Kif makes their way through for a second scoring pass and then calls off the jam. Sorry, that was an initial scoring pass. We have Tweed Valley Rollers on 212 to the Rockabellas on 111. We once again have 2-2 versus 2-2. Passion Fingers for the Rockabellas versus Tenacious T for the Tweed Valley Rollers. And this time it is Passion Fingers who is the Alpha 2-2, picking up lead jammer status. Meanwhile, Tenacious T getting recycled by 248 Rebel Lion, and again by I believe that might be 4-1 Miss T. Meanwhile, Passion Fingers coming through, picking up 4 points for their initial scoring pass, and re-entering the pack for a second scoring pass. Tenacious T removing the star. Whether this will be a pass or a stash, who knows? It is a stash with Tenacious T completing their initial pass. And Passion Fingers calls off the jam before Tenacious T gets a chance to add to the Tweed Valley Rollers score. Tweed Valley Rollers remaining on 212 with the Rockabellas on 121. We have another official timeout. In the chat, we have Jesse saying, go, go, go. And Emily saying, broke the 100, woohoo. I believe Emily is supporting the Rockabellas. As I've said previously, it's fantastic seeing love for both of these teams in our live stream chat.
You got this. You got this. You're still in official timeout.
We also have Leanne, who seems a bit stressed out, posting a clenched teeth emoji. If you are at TGSS and after some fabulous merch, we have Top Line Promotions who have helped supply the sweet, sweet merch. They have been providing promo merch for over 30 years and are regarded as Australia's #1 choice for promo products and corporate uniforms. All right, timeout over by the looks of things. And we are returning to play with 9-6 Sugars lining up for the Tweed Valley Rollers against 201 Sensational for the Rockabellas. And it is Sensational headed to the penalty box for a cut track penalty, leaving lead jammer status open for Sugars for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Sugars making short work of their first scoring pass, picking up another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. Meanwhile, Rockabellas also losing their pivot to the penalty box. Sugars picks up another 4 points before being directed to call off the jam by their bench coach, icing Sensational in the penalty box. Actually, it may look like they did, in fact, complete their penalty. Rockabellas are now fielding 248 Rebel Lion as jammer for the next jam, with 1-0 Kif back out against the Tweed Valley Rollers. And it's nice to see a bit of love and sportsmanship between these two teams, with Kif and Rebel Lion having a bit of a high-five moment on the line. Rebel Lion copping a big hit from, I believe that was 9-9 Evil Britches. Meanwhile, Kif picking up a lead jammer status, despite being chased down by Gogo Yabari. Rebel Lion still fighting their way through the Tweed Valley Rollers defense for their initial pass. Kif managing to once again hop around Gogo Yabari to pick up 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. We have had a star pass on the Rockabellas side with, that is 5150 Cindereka now wearing the star for the Rockabellas, completing their initial pass. Meanwhile, Kif picking up another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers. And that is Kif picking up another 4 points for the Tweed Valley Rollers before being directed by their bench to call off the jam. And that is it. It is all over, folks. unofficial score, I believe, is 232 for the Tweed Valley Rollers versus 124 for the Rockabellas. Both teams putting in a fabulous effort on this fine Sunday morning. Tweed Valley Rollers now doing a victory lap. And that is official. The final scores 232 for the Tweed Valley Rollers versus the Rockabellas on 124. Once again, I have been Purple Rain, and this Truck One live stream will be back at 10:45 with Division 1 Victorian Roller Derby League Lightning versus Perth Roller Derby Div 1. So grab your snacks, grab your beverages, and join a Sunset Claws and Chumbawamba on this live stream at 10:45.